Hey everyone, nice to see you here. Jasmine, thank you for introducing us. I work at Accenture School of Management at University Canada West.
Hello everyone, my name is Azadeh. I'm just working at Actionable School and I'm working in Western Community Department. Thanks for being here.
We acknowledge that the land where we live, work, and have the privilege to present to you is the ancestral unceded territories of the First Nations, Musqueam, Tsleil-Waututh, and Squamish. And I found out that Burnaby, where I live, and I think perhaps you live on the same territory because it spreads throughout Stolo Nation. The nations who preserve this land and cherish the most meaningful and deep connection with it. And it's so great to be following in their footsteps. Our plan is simple. To give you an idea, have you heard of this idea of flip classroom? Yeah. Okay. So the question is, why do we sleep? I sleep, Azadeh sleeps, anyone. Why and how? We will also tell you some details about it, share our insights because we are the users. Personally, I am afraid to flip entirely hybrid car mode, not ready to leave the gasoline behind. So I'm flipping the second half of my classroom. What about you, Jose?
I'm flipping first.
Flipping the first part.
But you can second part.
The whole course, we can flip just one section or one lesson, or as you see, part of the lesson. An interesting idea, and we hope that you will also think the same way. And we will conclude with the notion to think beyond. Thank you.
Let's talk about the flip classroom, but before, I think that most of us could just grow with a traditional teaching method, trying most of us. So what was the traditional one? The instructor was at the center. So instructor is a figure, center figure, right? The instructor lectured, explained. And also if we do have a time, we're just like doing some activities, right? And then you're just sending students home and you're asking the students to do their assignments, like their homework in their spare time, but without any support, immediate support, right? And that separation can feel like the students, they're just struggling with some concept and there is no support, right? And look at the flip classroom. So in flip classroom, it's vice versa. It start begins at home. You're not sending a student home, you're asking them to start from home. And then for the self-studying research, self-assessment, they're doing from home. But with the pre-recorded lectures, with the interactive presentations, with the interactive video animation, silent animation, what I did in my business communication, silent animation. And then when the students are coming, they're just like, we had one presentation before us, and they're just like asking welcoming students. A student that moment they can participate. They're just like they know something. It's not that they're not getting a lot of new information, and also they're just so confident, right, to engage with us. So cognitive load. Now I just want to talk from psychological standpoint, perspective side, right? So one of the flip classroom, the aim is like to reduce that cognitive load. Help with pre-recording lectures, right? You're just like sending to the LMS, you're selecting some, you're sending, and you're getting through the LMS, right? The pre-lectured video or voice over recorded, and then student engaged. It's not like that video, it's silent animation. Students hearing why they're just like sitting behind the desk, they just like fall asleep, and they're just like, they don't want to engage, right? That's the important part. Cognitive load, but you're just looking at the perspective. The perspective is surrounding memory load, right? Memory capacity. So what is an important part of our brain is like working memory. And hold memory information for 30 seconds. And process 7 to 9 items only in 30 seconds. How amazing. But just imagine 2 hours, lots of new information, too quickly, right? In a short time. So students, they're just getting overwhelmed, right? And you're giving them cognitive overload. So we are explaining how flipping classroom work, right? So students, they're starting from home. They're watching the video. They're ready to engage. Right? When they're just coming to the class, they already know some basics, some foundational. And when they're just coming, they're just ready to engage with their peers. And also they're just learning and they are comfortable to learn from their peers. And also, what is our goal, what we want to do? Like when we're just like, we don't want only to teach them facts.
True.
We want to teach them skills, right? We don't want to overwhelm them with a textbook, heavy textbook. Interactive presentation. Also, we're just like adding some video, interactive video, and then podcasts. Interesting one podcast. But due to the attention span, because it's a short attention span nowadays, so we know that we have to keep it like less than 10 minutes. Then we are going to the blog. Students, they're just learning in 3 ways: audio, visual, and then some of them they're kinesthetic, hands-on experience, right? So that's why blog for reading would work. And then is a discussion at work. They just want to share their idea, what they've learned, what their peers think. And then the last one is reflections, oral, written reflections. So the concept, what are the concepts? We're not only flipping the classroom, we're teaching, right? What we're doing, cognitive. We're working with the cognitive, memory retention. We're working with the behavioral. Students are engaging while they're coming to class. And they are ready to engage. So behavior, cognitive, and also a structure. So how it feels when students, they're just like they're in control, or they're getting the ownership of their study, right? So that's flip classroom just gives them that ownership. Let's look at Bloom's taxonomy, right? In flip classroom. What is Bloom's taxonomy? It's like it's a framework, and then it's just categorize the limit of the thinking, right? Lower level start with understanding and then remembering. So in a flip classroom, you're saying, "Hey, students, please handle those in your pace, in your time, spare time at home before class." And then while you're coming to the class, start with applying, analyzing, and then upper level of this pyramid. So they're creating solution, right? What we want as instructor. So what we want as instructor is not giving them facts. We want them to develop their skills, right? We are living in 21st century. So students, knowledge is everywhere now. There is AI, right? There is a revolutionized AI here, revolutionized the higher education. So everyone, they do have information knowledge, but how and what they can do with their knowledge, that's the important question for us as an educator, right? And then that makes students apart from the others, right? That's why they're taking the higher education. So deep learning refers to specific techniques that foster active learning and creativity, upper level of Bloom's taxonomy. So how, when they're just coming to a class, they're just like working, hands-on experience. They have the knowledge now. They can engage in a discussion with their peers. They can work. They can get that experience by practice. And then they are creative. They can create solution. So also in fluid classroom, from the being a passive listener, they're going to be active listener.
No. The discussion of this method is an ongoing process. We can trace it to the early 2000s. I don't think it's possible without learning management system. What do you think? Is it possible to flip the classroom without learning management system? Being on paper with textbooks? I think no, right, Jose? And then in 2007, it was actually high school teachers, chemistry teachers, Jonathan Bergman and his friend Aaron Jose. They came up with this idea because they saw students struggling. They start their book, written a little bit later in 2012, with a story about a student. I even memorized the name Enrique. Enrique, they say, such a good student, so diligent, sits in the front, takes notes, tries to follow everything, then goes home and is completely lost. Reminds me of my son. And they decided to try and flip and see. And then you may think, is it really effective? Are they really studying at home? Because the first portion is at home. And it's not freestyle and it's not free fall. It's us educators who curate, construct this knowledge for them because we're still teachers. We are not ready for completely freestyle classroom. Personally, though, we have to be in control. So the effectiveness, when you say increase the responsibility, imagine you're a student. So the first part is you by yourself, you're self-studying, you're responsible. When preparing for this presentation, I asked my friend, what do you think about this method? Right away, the answer. Are you sure I'm going to watch your materials at home? Everything you uploaded? I don't think so. How do you make sure I do that? You're responsible. That's learning ownership. And then the exam will show how well you did. The customized approach is because we split up the time and we customize the materials we upload, we customize the class time, and then we customize individual approach. Because in class, we are with them. They're actively learning. In class, it's activities only. And we are there to just guide them through the process. The feedback is split also at home. Self-assessment, because after they watch, it's good to include some assessment tools, such as quiz. In class, we're there to provide feedback, always there. Remediation is readily available, especially after the feedback. The teachers' and students' perspective can be different, however. But we have the goal, we have to learn, and we have to be engaging, otherwise it will not work. Otherwise, nothing. Don't you think? If we're not engaged ourselves, then engage our students. And nothing is without challenges, of course. As my friend mentioned, how are you going to ensure that I am actually studying at home and not just maybe memorizing it to pass your quiz and get a good grade and then be done with it? It's anyone's choice. It's always a choice to learn or not. How we can be sure that our feedback is not only formative, but also constant. I have to admit, not always I have time for that, personalized, diligent, best feedback I can give. Just no time for that. But wherever is a challenge, there is a way to solve it because we care and we solve. Self-regulation, time management, how students are going to tackle it and not feel lost is another story. And maybe some of these challenges and even more challenges we don't have time to mention is what stops us. Nothing can stop us from trying and see if it works for us or our students. The expectations, it can never be, even if we try to be friends with our students, we can never be the same. We have the goal of transferring the knowledge, and they have the goal more and more of having fun while they're learning. A little contradictory, but we can always come on the same platform. Is it possible? Internet is co-educator. Recently, I figured out that pretty much all of my students now are people born in 21st century, and I was born in 20th century. We studied in libraries, right? And we read books, the yellow pages. Now, internet, as an educator, let's think together. You can ask us a question at the end if also puzzles you. Curriculum is not just the guide through the program, through the course. It's a course to be run from the beginning till the end, till we reach the objectives. So from this point of view, it's a movement towards the goal. And the matrix here shows how this can work. So you see the elements are not that different from traditional classroom. We always have our philosophy, transfer the knowledge and have them prepared for real life situations. Also, student-centered philosophy, right? Time allocation, that is different. It's split at home, for class, during the class. Assessment tools, the same. We cannot reinvent the wheel. We have grading, we have quizzes, we have assessment. We can make our course objectives-based or outcome-based. We know that outcome-based is more suitable for high level, 300 and higher. Personally, that is my favorite type, even for lower level courses. Practical, hands-on, and we have something that we know at the end of the course. The content, engaging, relevant, current, the best we can come up with. Environment, at home, comfortable, in class, active, dynamic, working together. And the roles effectively swap once and forever to student-centered. Our insight is the insight of people who are practitioners because we tried this method and we like it. And to show you how we practically use it, it's a very abbreviated, of course, snapshot of a lesson plan. At home, in class, we have here 6 minutes, 5 micro learning. I started this method with recording longer videos. It's easier for me to record the whole material, 30 minutes, 40 minutes. I am pretty sure they were not watching it, probably just scrolling and finding some parts that they liked. And other than you mentioned, 7 to 9 items in 30 seconds, right? It's still 6 minutes. It's not 30 seconds like TikTok. And I hope I will not live in dystopian future, like Dr. Jessica mentioned in the beginning, when TikTok will be the teacher, not internet. But who knows how everything will speed up. And we have also, after they watch, they do this, right? 2 hours. This is a big challenge, by the way, because some people say, oh, now not only they studied in class, they also have to do this at home. But that's how we study. We always have to rehearse at home. Otherwise, it will just go in and forgotten. 2 hours, 2 hours, 4 hours total. In class, mostly active sessions. And you know how creativity is unleashed here? You know, right? In class, when you plan those 45 plus 45 with a break, you can do so many things: problem solving, critical thinking, concept mapping, peers, educating peers, anything. Reflective part is always a good idea to have, as is formative assessment. As we said, we're not ready for freestyle. It's structured and organized setting. So the videos is a special thing to mention. I don't know about you. I am a learner, and this is good because it pushes me more. I can record the video, but I cannot edit the video to insert different elements in a professional way. There are many tools, software that we can use. So we can decide, but even simple video, we can use PowerPoint and voice over it. But they say it's more effective to have teacher head speaking for students, for their attention. We can also make MP4 professional video, or surprisingly effective. Do you know Khan Academy videos on the YouTube? If you remember, it's writing hand, also effective. We already said magic numbers. We have it here, 9 minutes, right? Also mentioned 7 to 9 items working memory can hold, and not a lot of those videos. Each one is on one topic, and it's good to include assessment quiz as well at the end of the video.
Rank it out, great. So here, we learned it was flipped classroom. That was flipped classroom give us memory retention, right? Was flipped classroom give us like the students that are coming, they engage, right? And they're not bored in the classroom. What flipped classroom give us is like a very good discussion. You're just like enjoying that the students, and also, you know, that cycle of the energy, that's amazing, right? They're learning from each other, even though they're just coming and they're just doing research. And also, one more important thing is about innovation that PPP model just give it to us. It's like trying a new way of teaching, find the best way in a curriculum. The other one that we're just like, we are talking in PPP classroom is like tailored. What my colleague just said is like tailored, personalized feedback to students, right? And the other one is like modern education now because we're living with a tech-driven, right? Students. And with help of technologies, we can deliver interactive videos, animations, H5P in LMS, Blackboard, right? Those tools, those interactive tools we can apply through LMS and Moodle. So I hope that you enjoy. And if you have any questions, we would like questions. In time of training, any question on the floor?
Yeah, thank you very much for your talk. And I've been doing field classes maybe for the past decade. And that's because the type of class at the time I was teaching was kind of appropriate to do that. But it doesn't work for many other classes that they are lecture-based. So there are some courses that you can design labs and activities in the class, but some of them are traditional ways still can apply to go state about literature, those things that you need to still convey the message in a traditional way. There are two things that I want to share here. It's just not questions, comments, but some of my feedback. So you mentioned the formative assessment bringing in class. What I have done was I tried to bring formative assessment before class just to make sure that they do that. And there are knowledge checks that I have designed in Canvas after the end of each of these modules that they study at home to give them immediate feedback, whether they've learned or not. Because there might be the thing that, we all have gone through those videos that we are asked maybe as part of our developments that we just go put it on the fast speed and not even listening. And then at the end go there, playing some of them by chance. But even if they are going to skip watching the videos, they will see the answer. So they said, well, maybe my guess was incorrect. So this is kind of a way to make sure that they are understanding. And then, of course, you can always have apart from this, formative assessment, you bring it back to the class for those quizzes to make sure that they have understood. This another thing was I found that we can have students' involvement really in the picture to use them as your teaching assistants, meaning that the students are best peers to teach themselves. Like when we do group activities, I deliberately assign task, and I'm not going to do too much of a guidance in terms of telling them what exactly you need to follow. But we see that those who are better at some activities, they try to now lead. So now in this case, we have the students who are now participating in teaching. And the same thing goes with making sure that they create discussions, for example, on campus. And that will be part of your assessment. So that 5% of the grade will be based on your active discussions that you create. So based on the topic that you discuss, now go yourself and find a YouTube video, write something about, what you learned, so this way you make some sort of a, active learning in that sense that you put something on their shoulders so that they show that they have learned. Otherwise, they just pretend that I have learned. I watched this. So, yeah.
It's such a great way to have a question that is a discussion topic. Thank you so much. Are you using Canvas as a learning management system? So great, because I appreciate your insight about having students as teaching assistants and also moving the formative feedback. Even sounds a little bit too much for this, as we described, nice collaborative environment, and suddenly we're coming with the formative feedback and everybody's frozen. That is great.
Yes, please.
I just have a quick comment to make. Years ago, when I was working in industry, one of the things that I noticed that work was very effective was when we were doing a hands-on lab work for a particular technology, that material actually came with 3 versions. One was detailed instructions, page after page after page. The other one was video. It gives you highlights of what you're producing. And the first one was just a statement, really telling you what tool you use and what you produce, outcome-based. And what I found that it was at the time, this is like 2008 we're talking about, before all of these technologies became. And I guess one of the beauties of the tools nowadays is that you can have the detailed instructions, but then you can generate different levels of detail with the students' engagement. Some students are engaged to know what the outcome should look like, what tools they should use, and they get excited about that approach. Some students are totally lost. They want step-by-step instructions. So with that, you can give them the choice. I think this is a beautiful thing. If the instructor wants to design that, it would be 3 times work. It's a lot of work. Nobody has time for it. But with the use of these kind of tools, we could actually have variations of these self-learning, and some students like to take long time to do their work. Let them do it on their own. Some like to be challenged. So I think that's a great thing to learn. I just wanted to share that.
Thank you. And I'm echoing. In middle of the presentation, I was like saying that students, they love to feel that they're just taking ownership of their education, right? Empowerment. Both of the insights, which I just appreciate, but both of the insights just emphasize that empowerment. So in what you're just like mentioning, like the peers, they're just like feeling that, hey, I'm accountable, I'm responsible. Those knowledge, those information that I'm just lending them, spending to the others, to other peers. So it has to be based on fact, right? And also that's accountability. It's on my shoulder. And also when you're just like giving them the option, you're just empower them, right? Thank you so much. Thanks.
Thank you. When I'm reading detailed syllabus and I have a choice, detailed or shorthand, sorry, my choice is the one, the shorthand one. My mind fills in the gaps.
Maybe if they're good.
Yeah.
On its different. Is there any question for us?
I have a question. Yes. So this is my personal encounter. I tried Flip Classroom 10 years ago. My background's in science. So I tried to flip my genetics class. And I got really bad feedback for that semester. A lot of students that couldn't accept it. They were asking like, why can't you just stand in front of a class and teach us? Why make me, watch your video and you make me come to class and play your activity, and I'm not interested in your activity. I just want you to talk and I just want to learn, do my exam, and that's it. So you have any encounter with this, and how do you overcome this? Maybe you can share with us some experience on that. Thank you. Haven't encountered, but I can easily visualize what you described. When you ask me a question, I want to ask you questions, and that is so great because now my question is what level students, and also the setup of the class. What was the setup? What level? Was it undergrads?
Yes, undergrads level 2. But at that time, it was 10 years ago. We still have the very traditional setting. So the lecture setting, like an auditorium setting instead of like an active classroom. So I can't move the table, I can't move the chair. They just sit there, but they are forced to do activity. The question stands, but
My additional questions would be how worried they were about the exams and their grades, right? Because they all time where if split classroom will give them all the knowledge that can easily tick on the exam paper. 10 years ago, I would assume, 10 years ago, we already have learning management systems. That's about the time when we started having them. If I just answer personally, and also it's interesting to see what you think. 10 years ago, the version of this teacher that I am now was not the best one, technologically speaking. I didn't know how to make good presentations, good videos, and maybe that would stop me from being very effective in flipped classroom. I think we're accelerating everything we can and even cannot do. We just have to do it. We have to go with this technological flow. I haven't encountered it. Usually it works fine with it in my case. But I only am risking it. I will even say in this word risking because it's still new with food and beverage management, because we can be a lot of hands-on approach in the second half. Food and beverage, it's hard to just talk about it, right? Doesn't make that much sense.
So I just want to add on my point. I have 3 masters, and also still I'm just like doing my DBA, just like talking from the students' side. I'm professor, but I'm a student still. In my perspective, I just want the professor to be transparent, show me the book way to okay, what you're expecting from my side. That's one thing. The other thing is just like understand that, hey, that's true that we do have a short span, attention span, but each person, they do have a different span, right? Attention span. So in that case, just give me a tracking video, uploading a tracking video, not overwhelm me, even though with that 2 hours that I need to spend on my, in my own time 1 week before the session. I hope that they're answering your question.
So sorry, there's something that came just back my mind about 10 years ago or so. I was teaching at business school at SMU, a course for, it was what software development for business students. This setting was that kind of said, okay, I read here. So what I requested was to change this setup into 2 classrooms. So for the first hour, I was giving lecture overview. This was like traditional style. Next 2 hours, I take them out into the lab, sitting and working in. Because that way you can never have collaboration. Well, there can be a person, talking at the back, asking you why to the next one. It's not going to be effective. And that's why they hate it. They don't know what to do.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Dr. Liz.
Thanks for this.